Hello everybody, and welcome to the next part of our adventure with trying to get an elf to the dungeon. I said I would give it 5 attempts. My first attempt was relatively successful, so I was kind of happy with that, but I said 5, so let's do 5. This is the next part of the video series. One thing I looked up, because if you'll recall, I said very frequently I didn't know which strength, dex, and stat I needed to be working with last game. So what I did is I looked up this table, and I'm not sure if you guys can see all of this. The website, I can put that in the comments later on actually, so that you can come to this as well. But it has this table showing all of the weapons of the game, and what skills you need, and what their attack rates are, and what their damage and penalty. Most important column is, for my purposes, is this strength column. The higher this number, the more of a percentage out of 10, or the more out of 10, strength is relevant. So a quick blade, strength is almost completely irrelevant, and dexterity is all that matters. Whereas a giant spiked club, naturally your dexterity is pretty irrelevant, and strength is all that matters. And this is for determining to hit. Damage is fixed, and enchantment boosts that further. So with this knowledge, if I'm going to be running a dexterity-based elf, I want to be focusing on short blades for the most part, and probably even using a quick blade or a dagger. Not a dagger. A quick blade, or actually any of these would be fine. And a saber has the highest damage output. Yeah. Next thing I wanted to point out is that the percentage weighting for falchions, high swords, great swords, triple swords, etc., it's not that much higher until you start getting into the bastard two-hand sword style swords. So again, something to bear in mind. Okay, let's close out of this. So with that knowledge, let me show you guys what I found out. If I run a high elf and I run him as a wizard, he starts with a 6-21-13 split of skills, right? Very much optimized for casting magic and very low stats. If I run a high elf as a generic conjurer, 7-18-15. So somewhat better, but still very low strength and solid enough dexterity. And of course, if I run him, the high elf, as a fighter, is that what we were doing? Fighter, the short sword? Dex is in fact lower, because they're expecting me to use a long sword. Strength is of course higher, where I would like it to be. So, that pointed out, I came up with this idea. What if I was to focus on using my dagger and short blades for damage, and using the benefits of having spellcasting for Mephitic Cloud and Magic Dart, to deal some damage and to have some disables? So we're going to go ahead and make Elf-2, and that's going to be our game plan. Now remember, it might take me as many as 5 attempts to get this going, so we'll see how that works. Make a Conjurer. What do I start with? I start with Magic Dart. Now notice, they gave me 5 levels in Conjuration, so I already have a fair aptitude at casting Mephitic Cloud. If I can get spellcasting up just a level or 2, so that I can get the 3 spell levels I need, 1 from leveling up, 1 from 1 level of spellcasting, and maybe get 1 level of poison, air, and Conjuration, well I already have the Conjurations respectively, I should be able to get that Mephitic to reliable pretty fast without wasting too much experience. We're going to turn off... I like dodging and stealth, actually. For now, I'm just going to focus dodging, because that's defense. And we'll worry about putting on sneakiness. Actually, if I'm going to be running a stabber, I might as well have that sneakiness as well. Alrighty, off we go. I said it before, I'll say it again. This early game is very, very unpredictable. for example, and now I'm running from 4 jackals with no mana and no weapon in my hand. Fun how these things happen, right? I have full mana, so let's unload. Okay, that sucked. I smell a secret door somewhere nearby. Nope. Oh, teleport trap. Great. Oh, there we go. At least I'm not unarmed anymore. I would like to get my short blades training sooner rather than later. When I eventually make the switch from using magics to using primarily my dagger, it's going to be very sucky if I haven't done that. Should probably actually also, and this is the advantage of me doing this multi-class in magic as damage dealing. Since I don't intend to wear serious armor, I'm not gonna have to worry about the loss to my spellcasting that would come from. I've never seen this kind of double tap. That would come from not wearing armor, and it gives me the ability to have, you know, a couple different ways of dealing damage. Okay, full mana recovered. There we go. Yeah, the way I figure it is I'll get another spell level when I level... What? I already have 4 spell levels. So yeah, I already got 1 for leveling, 1 for spell casting, 1 that I started the game with from level 2, and so yeah, that's why 4. So I can already memorize this. I just need to be level 3 before they allow me to. Once I memorize that, I'll use it to train the associated schools and get it reliable. I'm going to focus Dex, because I have every intention of using lower strength requiring weapons. Actually, given that it's 2 or 3 with a strength rating, I should actually probably just figure out the ratio and go from there. So if strength is 3 out of 10, then for every 3 points in strength, I should give, you know, a point in whatever. Crap. Curse dagger. Yeah, the game would have me pick Assassin for the kind of gameplay that I was planning to play. But the way I figure it is, the thing that I would most want as an assassin would be the disables, and playing as a wizard I get those disables, except, you know, instead of having a few curare darts and blow darts and poison, now I can, you know, I can actually use my spells. And in my opinion, Mephitic Cloud, at least for the early game, is much more versatile. If I recall correctly, where were whips on this scale of strength requirements? They were at the bottom, but their damage is also kinda sorta at the bottom. Yeah, daggers have better damage output and better accuracy. We're talking 2 to 6, so yeah, it's not, never mind. Trains the wrong school on top of all of that. Okey-dokey, down we go. I don't yet have any short blade skill either. Mephitic Cloud has been memorized. Now I'm going to spam cast this a couple times. Not spam cast, but cast it unnecessarily a couple times, just to get air poison training going a little bit faster. This is going to hurt my hunger status, because I'm not going wizard. I haven't specialized in all of the hunger reducing spellcasting training, so this is still, you know, at honeycomb. And it probably will be for the rest of the game. But that's fine. I can throw some points at it later if I really care. Now, where was Sigmund? Normally, this is not a time I would be happy fighting Sigmund, because as a melee duelist, I would have no escape when Sigmund eventually attacks me. But with the ability to confuse him, gives me a lot more power. Of course, I had no warning that he was going to be unconfused so fast. Probably need to get a little bit more power into this spell. Or either that, or, you know, kill him faster next time. Oh yeah, but it was definitely worth it. And there we go. I now have significantly more level up power. My short blade skill has gone up to the point that I can turn it on for leveling, so I plan to do that. And I'm going to disable stealth. Yeah, and leave dodging as a training skill. I'm going to turn that back on eventually, but I want to train up stabbing, short blades, and as a priority I want to get conjurations of air and magic up, because fair is not enough. Fair means that for my 11 mana, I will probably get off 2 Mephitic Clouds if I'm lucky. And nothing sucks more than attempting to launch a disable spell, and instead of getting your disable off, you know, just standing there losing mana. Okay, let's recover. Oh, by the way, if you guys saw how I just aimed that, Mephitic is a 3x3 blast, and you can of course be confused by your own Mephitic Cloud when you don't have poison resistance, so this is a very common situation where you'll want to aim like that to hit an enemy that's adjacent to you, so you aim around them. Okay. I need to start worshipping a god soon. I'm getting a lot of kills without it. That whole odd foresty area that spawned on the first floor that I've never seen before had a lot of higher level enemies, including some gnolls. So my experience has been kinda... Notice what just happened here. Is engulfed in flames, appears confused, hits herself with the rune dagger, hits herself, zaps a wand, zaps a wand, zaps a wand, but that wand has never hit me. I've never even seen it zap, so she probably hit herself repeatedly. I haven't touched her yet, and look how much she's... I didn't get to touch her. She killed herself, and I get the credit. It's extraordinarily powerful as a disable, this Mephitic Cloud. Yeah, I already have a +2 robe, which is the maximum you can enchant a robe to. So, barring something better, which is Elven, I'm probably not going to need another robe anytime soon. Now don't forget that even when I don't need the disable in order to run from my enemies, it also makes it much harder for them to hit me, because they're dancing around, and also boosts my to hit when you attack a confused enemy, and it gives you the ability to stab for, like, I think 1.5 times the usual the stabbing damage, as opposed to, you know, a paralyzed enemy where it's triple. So stupid. Should have just fought it out. Hunger makes me do stupid things. Aww. A bunch of lower level mammals. Okie, so the air magic is now trained. Poison magic still needs to be. That has gone up to good. And notice I have a +2 aptitude for air magic, so I'm actually just going to try and get that to level 2 to help this whole make it reliable process along a little bit. Yeah. The only other spell that I really would want to memorize, honestly, is Blink. And beyond that, just, you know, good utility spells in general. Swiftness, invisibility, I don't think I'm actually ever going to get high enough level to memorize, but... Mephitic stabbing is so much fun. And notice that it did not take a whole lot of effort to get Mephitic Cloud reliable. It just took, you know, a little bit of training early on, and admittedly there was a lot more experience on the first floor than an average first floor would have. But then, remember, the flip side of that equation is that was not, I mean, imagine fighting a gnoll on the first floor. Usually you would have to just run from it, so, I mean, as a stabber. So the flip side of that is that I had a good set of abilities to deal with stuff. And now that, and once I got through that, you know, I would say that normally by floor 2 or 3 of the dungeon, I would have been able to get this to work. I now can do this with my Mephitic Clouds, which assists my stabbing so much. And of course, I don't need to Mephitic Cloud in a corner who doesn't even know I'm there. And where this is really going to shine, though, isn't so much the ability to to help kill stuff as the ability to help escape from stuff that might kill me. And since my my mana is pretty much only really useful for this one spell and a few magic darts, I very seldom have mana issues because, you know, I've got 4 or 5 Amphitics, depending how bad my casting goes. In stock. I do hope the Ecumenical Temple spawns on early floor as opposed to on one of the later floors. The soonest it can spawn, I think, is on floor 4, so. And notice I'm aiming past him, it's still gonna hit him. And when it hits him, it stops there, which is what I wanted in the first place. Oh, come on, man. I don't want that orc following me and getting a free hit. Let's go down a different staircase. This one's beginning to get a little bit scary. Perfect, I couldn't have asked for better placement. I was 3 failed attempts to Mephitic in a row. Clearly my spell isn't reliable enough. 4 failed attempts to Mephitic in a row. Go. When you fail to cast a spell, you suffer the miscast effects, which can be as harmless as, you know, just flavor text, or as bad as, I mean, really the big thing is the glow. The more you miscast the more you start getting this glow, and at low levels that doesn't mean much. At higher levels of glow, it can actually, while the glow discharges, it can cause you to, whatchamacallit, mutate. And I think there's a rule that the mutation is always negative. Once I had a character who had almost no ability in I forget the name of the school, I think it was Earth Magic, and he wanted to use the dig spell. So, you know, I kept using it because the way I figured it is, I keep spamming it until eventually it works, every 1 in, you know, 10 attempts or whatever. And, you know, no harm, no foul, right? So I had massive amounts of glow that I was picking up because of this. I managed to get 3 different negative mutations, one of them including teleportitis, and that ruined the rest of my run. So, didn't ever make that mistake twice. There we go. Where are you getting all these axes, dude? I bet if you had died, you'd only drop one of them. God, it's so satisfying to confuse a wizard and be like, no spellcasting for you, sir. The most powerful wizard in the game. If it lacks poison immunity, it does not even matter. I actually don't have to stop for mana regeneration nearly as often. Oh, crazy youth with the quarterstaff of chaos. Bam! Double bam. Don't want you coming out. He actually managed to hit me anyway, in a confused, crazy haze. But the last laugh is meant. Youth always drops a quarter staff, which may or may not be enchanted, but often is, as well as a cloak, which, if you haven't found one yet, means you get your first cloak. That cloak can be enchanted sometimes, and other times it's just an ordinary cloak. I've even had it be cursed once, so don't always assume, like cursed -1, so don't always assume it's good, but whatever. You know, I could really use poison resistance so that I can make melee usage of my Mephitic Cloud. And I should probably back away instead of fighting this guy. What am I thinking? I'm poisoned and I have low health. Even if I win the fight, all it will take is one critical bite. And I can always just do this for free. Ha! Dead. I am an elven assassin. How cool is that? I don't know which of these is identify, but it's probably the one I have 4 of. And I have a new ring I want to identify, so let's do that. And go down the scrolls that I only have 1 of. So, yeah, there we go. Interesting ring. It decreases my dexterity. Oh, increases, okay, by +3, that's nice. And massively reduces my stealth with a bit of cold protection. This is not a particularly good ring for me, because I do like stealth. I'm putting it on anyway because I can always Mephitic, and at least for this part of the game, I'm not as worried about enemies that I can't Mephitic. There aren't that many of them. Mephitic is at very good. That's roughly an 80% reliability. I could bring it up further, but I don't have to. I think I will bring up spellcasting a little bit. That should help a little more with spell hunger, and simultaneously help with the casting capability, I think. Or sorry, the power, which, you know, I do want to have a decent duration on my Mephitic Cloud. You know, I wonder what it would be like to run a Elf of Chabriados with a Bastage sword and start him off with wizardry, because his stat boosts would be enormous. Or not wizardry, you know, Mephitic Cloud Conjuration, whatever. His stat boosts would be enormous, enough that I could use any kind of weapon I liked, pretty much, including, you know, basic swords. The slowing, considering that elves aren't... Oh yes, an elven dagger. Considering elves aren't particularly fast anyway, wouldn't be that big a deal. I mean, it'd be like I'm not giving up a whole lot to make this happen. Just something to think about. And while I wouldn't get, you know, Naga level of awesome out of it, nothing gets Naga level of awesome out of it. And if eventually I were able to build up my abilities, I'd also have a really nice panic button against fast enemies. Because as I'm running right now, I'm thinking, which god do I want to eventually worship? I'm not really that sure which god would make sense. I don't want to support my magics, because they're already where I like them. He's the only mephiticable enemy. Yeah, this is a good time to cure wounds and become mighty. Just getting away now. I got the kill I needed. The rest of them aren't nearly as scary without the big guy calling the shots. Really, the reason I'm so keen on picking a god is because the longer I go without farming piety, the longer it will take for god gifts or whatever higher level effects I need to kick in. Surely I've gotten stabbing skill by now. I have. Let's train that sucker up. There we go. I have a -3 to my damage stat with this dagger, but a plus to my hit. I don't like that particular trade-off, to be honest. I do little enough damage with my dagger as is, so let's switch. Oh, but it's a dagger of speed too. Damn, why do the good daggers always have to be crap? Let's drop the cursed dagger and get him here. The sewer is home to many poisonous snakes, rats, and the occasional kobold. So if you have poison resistance, it's a breeze. If you don't, you very likely will get poisoned, but that doesn't mean you're gonna die. It's not like the snake pits or something where I would say it's required to have poison resistance. You can, and it's a great place to farm some easy kills. I wouldn't go so far as to say some easy experience because the enemies are so low level. Oh, and of course there's the slimy water that they can move comfortably on and you can't. I don't think that they can swim, so I'm going to try to drown these guys. It worked. Jackal drowns, Jackal falls into the water, Jackal drowns. Good. This deep water, as you can see, the dark green, they can't swim in, obviously. They can't even tread on. The other thing that's very scary that you can meet on in the sewer are mermaids. Mermaids, or sirens, I guess I should say, they swim, which means that they can easily get out of your range, and they can charm you, which forces you to move in their direction. Being charmed, basically what it means is you're not allowed to move away from them, you're only allowed to move towards them. When they're conveniently positioned in such a way that doing so would drown you, yeah, this can end your game. I actually, they can't do a whole lot of damage to you or anything, depending on the, the specific one. But it doesn't matter if they do no damage and you're basically stuck for the rest of the game staring longingly at them. I forget how I've ever managed to get away from that situation, and I know that not frequently, but twice, I have died in the sewer because of a mermaid. Rule of thumb, keep alert, don't let it happen to you. I should actually probably... If I'm gonna go shields, then there's no reason... or daggers, there's no reason not to have a good shield on one of my hands. It has, however, knocked my Mephitic Cloud down to unreliable again, so I'm gonna need to train up shields to try and offset that. And I'll also pick, I guess air magic is gonna be the easiest to train. I'll drop dodging for the time being, just to keep experience funneling quickly. Yeah, see? Using Confuse to drown is very effective. Apparently a summoner of mine died in here, and I don't know that I can take on a summoner comfortably, because if he spawns a nice big horde of even bats, I'm going to be in trouble. So I'm going to go in the opposite direction as him. I think I can get to here without provoking his wrath. Alrighty, I'm gonna pause.